Hey everyone, it's TDawg here with TDawg Trading. Thanks for making me part of your day. I really appreciate the support. In today's video, I'm going to go over my secret sauce surrounding hotkeys, how I utilize hotkeys, and what my layout looks like, and my philosophy surrounding it. I really think this is going to be a beneficial video. I think the concepts, the look, the design. I get a lot of feedback all the time on, dang, you got so many hotkeys. I think this might help illustrate and help you understand how I utilize all those hotkeys and so that it doesn't get confusing. So let's jump into it. I think hotkeys are really going to be how you use them is going to be determined by your strategy. How you use them will be determined, by the capabilities of your specific broker. I do think, though, you'll get value out of seeing as to how do I configure my hotkeys. And I think one thing that I want to show you that I think is interesting is when I first started trading. And I was watching Warrior Trading and Ross Cameron and some of the other gurus that used hotkeys and my first instinct was, oh, I need a stream deck and want to set up these keys and have all these keys available that are labeled and I did that. I went on Amazon and I found me a deck. In fact, let me just show this to you. So this is what I created. I bought it from Amazon. I bought different color keys. You can see the green base keys, the red keys were stop and sells, and gray keys. I had 3 or 4 different color keys, and I literally created this, and I probably used this for, I don't know, maybe 30 days. But at the end of the day, I just figured out that it was just too it took me away from everything else. It really kind of took me away from everything else, and it really wasn't the most efficient way to create it. It looks pretty cool. I could have done a little bit better job at creating the little things, but again, the goal was something that I understood and that I remember, and so forth. You see the actual, like, this black key and this white key, these were escape, get out of the cancel all orders type of thing. And anyway, but I just think that's important to understand that I thought I needed this, and I come to find out that really it just was a hassle, especially if I started travel trading or anything of that nature. So today I'm going to walk you through my hotkey configuration. I'm going to give you my how I get into a position, how I get out of my position, and obviously the hotkeys that I use. So let's jump into getting into a position. So this is a sample, this is a sample keyboard, and these are the colored keys. These are the keys that I use for taking a position. So, let's start with momentum play. So as you can see, I've got 1 through 7 here. And so using control, some people will use shift. I actually started out using shift, but I moved to a broker that only allowed control. And then when I was switching back and forth between brokers, I found myself getting confused. And so I made everything unilateral. And so I ended up moving to control versus shift. But again, control one, buy 1,000 shares. And I did have an offset since I'm trading momentum. I'm trading, low float stocks, many cases. I put these offsets on there so that I didn't miss the opportunity for a fill. Uh, Notice that my biggest hotkey is 4,000 shares. That my thought process is that if I want 12,000 shares, it's control 4 3 times really fast, right? That was my mentality. I wanted the capability to have 500, 600, 700 share positions. So that's kind of the mindset, that I utilize. So that, again, that's the momentum plays. Now, also when it comes, I have dip buy plays. So instead of using control, I use alt, and then I buy 1,000 shares, 2,000 shares, but instead of it being on the Ask Plus, these are for the bid. This is for when the price is dropping and I'm trying to catch the bottom or trying to catch it coming down, ready to bounce up. And so, I use the Alt keys to be able to support dips. All right, so short plays. So obviously that's my F1 keys. That's what I have here, kind of burgundy red. I use Control F1. Again, same exact process, but in reverse, obviously. if I'm momentum, if the stock is going lower, then I'm doing the bid -1 for 1,000 shares, and then 2 and 3 for 3 and 4,000 shares. Again, giving myself the opportunity to have smaller share size. If I'm trying to augment my position, it could be because of the particular share price of the stock. There's a number of reasons of why that, but I just don't see myself. I'm at the level of trading that I can get into 12,000 shares really fast with three quick keys on the F4, right? So I just didn't feel like I needed a 6,000 share key. I'm just not at a point where I want to get to 25, 30,000 share positions. I'm just not there yet. So that's that. And I also have obviously surge up. So if it's surging up, let's say it came down, I take some profit, it's bouncing back up, and I'm wanting to add to the position. I have the alt one, or actually this should be F1. That is my mistake. In fact, let me go ahead and my bad. So yeah, Alt F1, short 1,000 shares again on the ask. I'm not in a situation to where I'm putting offsets on this. In fact, I usually, again, momentum plays, I'll play a little offset, but just like as I'm buying dips, I don't usually put an offset there. So those are the simple, using 1 through 7 on F1 through 7, using 1 through 7. That's how I'm getting into positions long, and this is how I'm getting into positions short. All right, so now getting out of position. So, back to the, reset of the keyboard. These are the keys that I'm using for the reset of the position. And so, I'm going to focus on, this section Z through M. This is how I get out of long positions. This is how I get out of short positions. So let's jump on and getting out of the long position. So the Control Z, that's my bail key. That's me bailing on the stock. It's starting to plummet, or I got a real bad feeling and I just need to get out of the stock. It's not a market order, but it is a marketable limit order because I'm giving myself 8 cents. So bailing on the bid, Control Z, that's going to sell 100% of my position at a bid -8 cents. So that's good. That's a lot of slippage opportunity, but I'll be honest, I've actually had one time where that wasn't enough. It didn't get me completely out of the position. The stock was moving down so quickly. Control X, that's selling 50% of my position on the bid. So you'll notice that the Z, X, and the C, 100%, 50%, 25%. So Control X, 50% of the position on the bid. Notice I don't have any offset there. Sometimes I'm sitting in a situation to where I'm up. Let's say, I'm a $5 stock. I'm at 520, and I'm seeing a huge a battle at 520 versus 521. I'm seeing sellers increase. I think it's getting ready to go down, and I'm wanting to, number one, take a little bit of profit off the table, or a lot, half the position off the table, or I'm attempting to mitigate risk. So maybe I'm at a $5 position. It's currently at 503, and I think this thing could plummet down to 480. Me taking half off the position is going to mitigate some possible risk. And then Control C is my 25%. That's really me seeing, I'm seeing it struggle. So I Control C, take it off. Sometimes I have 10,000 share positions, and 2,500 shares on some of these stocks can make an impact. And therefore, others can see me bailing on the bid, and others will bail on the bid to follow. Sometimes Control C allows me to take some off the table without it negatively impacting the current momentum of the stock. And that's me trying to conserve, for the rest of this share size, the opportunity to take some at a higher rate. All right, so now my the green keys B, N, and M. Again, this is me taking off the ask. So I'm in a long position. Control B is going to take everything else. It's going to take my entire position off at the ask price. Control N is a 50% on the ask. Notice Control M is 35%, not 25%. I used to always use 25% here. I don't use 20. I use 35%. I started finding myself in situations to where I made winners turn into losers, and I'd taken maybe 25% a few times. I just I just don't think that I'm ever going to be in a situation to where I take 35% off the table that I'm upset that I took the 35% versus the 25%. To me, it's just, again, taking more profit, and that's what we're here to do. I think that's key. All right, so again, that's my get Z through M is my getting out of long positions. Notice I don't have anything set to the V. It's kind of my spacer between. So when I'm feeling, it gives me that separation. All right, so now let's getting out of a short position. So getting out of the short position, A, S, and D. That's my essentially my bell key. So control A is my bell. I'm going to cover 100% of the position at ask plus 5%. Sometimes, we've got momentum and it's moving and I'm sitting there short and I need to get off the table. I've got a 5 cent offset to be able to try to have that marketable limit order. And then again, the same thing in reverse. S and D is my 50% and my 25%. That's me just, seeing it, the possibility of it could be increasing, seeing a struggle, maybe seeing the bulls are winning, and I'm in a bear position. And so I want to take a little bit more off the table. So I mitigate, maximize my profit or mitigate my risk. As far as getting out long, or getting out short, but in a profit taking scenario, I have Q, W, and E. Q is getting out 100% on the bid. 50 control W is my 50% on the bid, and then of course just like I did long, I changed my control E. Instead of it being 25%, it's now it's now 35%. I think it's important, again, looking at this. Yes, I get told, "Oh, yeah, I can't believe you use so many keys. How do you keep up with it?" I think if you look at how this is organized, this isn't once you get accustomed to this isn't confusing at all. Think I don't know how many of you are gamers, but I'm using the W, the A, the S, D, the X. Again, I just think this is easy for me. It was much easier than this. Is a heck of a lot more confusing to me than this. And again, taking the same approach and the right approach, I think, was the key for that. All right, so now let's go into the specialty keys. So the specialty keys, we'll start with the tilde key, and that's obviously that this key right here, the one right left to the one right underneath the. Usually, it's right underneath the escape key. When I want to egg cancel all my orders, I just press that key. This is my key and it cancels all orders, buys, sells, shorts, covers. It cancels everything that's on the that's on the setup. Now, using control in that key cancels just the orders that are currently active. So just like with any hotkey, the hotkey engages based on whatever active level 2 or montage or whatever you have going. Sometimes I might be in another trade and I've got a range order set up, and so I've got a stop and a profit, and I don't want to mess with that because that's totally separate and I'm in a different trade. And so that control tilde key allows me, if I'm actively trading a different stock, it allows me to cancel maybe a sell order or a buy order on that particular stock, and then allows me to continue to go. So I also have my Control F12. That's just simply liquidates all my positions. I made it kind of difficult to get to, but fairly simple. You'll notice a lot of the important, like all my buys. It's going to take two. Yes, I could Control 1, I could Control 2 or Control F1, but in most cases, I'm taking both hands, and I've got my left hand on the Control key, and then I have my right hand sitting on maybe the 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I literally have my index finger on the 1, my middle finger on the 2, my ring finger on the 3, and my pinky on the 4, and I'm ready to go. 1,000 shares, 4,000 shares, whatever I'm seeing that is kind of driving, I can kind of quickly get into that position, and then my hand swings typically down to that Control Z key, so if it goes against me, I can bail out fairly quickly. But the Control F4 is just an action that my broker provides that allows me to, it knows no matter if it's short or long position, it allows it allows me to just liquidate and get out of those trades. All right, the other specialty keys that I have. So again, if you kind of go back to, I have these, the T, Y, U, and O and P. So the T is sometimes if I'm in a situation and I'm seeing momentum, but knowing that it's in a critical stage and it could go either way, it's my this is what this is I'm not really using it to take profit. I'm really not. I'm using it to install my stop loss, but I have seen so many algo spikes that move up 20, 25 cents, and I mean, it's immediately, it's just like a crazy second, and so forth. I have I made this key so that as I'm putting that stop loss in place, if it does one of those crazy spikes, I might get filled at 15 cents, above the ask, and I'm never going to complain about that unless I've got a bigger plan for the position that I have. But if that's the case, I'm not going to use Control T. I'm going to use a different stop loss mechanism. So again, I have that control T. It's more of me setting a stop loss, waiting to see what it's going to do, forcing myself into a stop, and then of course having it out there. And then what typically happens is that as it starts to move up, let's say it moves up 8 cents, 9 cents, 10 cents. Typically, I will cancel that order, and then I'll maybe take 35% off the ask, or some other function, or I might add to the position. You never really, it really kind of depends on the circumstance. Y and U are just simply, let's take some profit off the ass. So taking 50%, uh, um, they're just some opportunities to take some additional profit. And then my O and P, those are kind of my two other stop loss keys. So O is essentially me saying I'm going to levy out the position at the stop bid minus 4 cents. And then my control P key, I use that a lot when I'm what I call building a position and I'm seeing positive movement. But like, let's say I might have a 6,000 share position on a stock where I've got a 10-cent profit right now, but I think there's going to be a 75-cent move. I'm getting close to a daily level. I think there's a huge opportunity here. This is where I'm sitting there just saying, yeah, I've got 10 cents right now, but I'm going to risk those 10 cents to make a much bigger move. So I'll hit that control P key, and that'll essentially look at my average position, add 2 cents. So if it comes down and hits it, when it bails, it pretty much it doesn't guarantee me that I'll break even, but it will likely allow me to break even on that particular trade. Give me enough slippage to typically break even. So yeah, so that's essentially, this is how this is how I'm utilizing my hotkeys. And notice I still got a lot of, I got this entire, I've got F, G, H, J, K, L. I've got all of these keys that I'm not using that I could create, other custom keys for. And but I just find, I just find, in the big picture of things, I just find it to be beneficial to utilize the keys in this way, and it's definitely worked for me. I don't ever get confused as to where my keys are. Um, Not like I did when I had this. And again, this was cool. This was cool. I mean, some of you might be saying, "Hey, where can I get that?" And I got it on Amazon, and it was, again, I was proud of it when I got it. It looked cool when I got it, and now I just laugh at it. It's just kind of one of those things. So anyway, so that's my usage on hotkeys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I definitely, enjoyed sharing it. So anyway, y'all have a great day. If you like this type of day trading content, I definitely highly recommend you subscribe to my channel. If you made it this far, click that like button. It really helps the algorithm. Y'all take care.